The global warming, weather, climate change and policy response debate gets dumber and dumber, of course. I keep telling you about this. You keep sharing information with me as well. There's always been more politics, more posturing and more emotion in these debates than there has ever been facts and reason. But we'll keep plugging away. We had some green on red warfare over this on the past couple of days, with Labor and the Greens fighting over who's to blame for their shameful climate policy history, as they see it. You see, it's a big anniversary this week, 10 years since the Coalition rolled Malcolm Turnbull as Liberal leader. Yes, I was working for him at the time. He was rolled by Tony Abbott over climate policy. And that meant that that means, of course, that it's also 10 years since Labor's emissions trading scheme was blocked by the Coalition teaming up with the Greens. So Labor leader Anthony Albanese tweeted this yesterday: higher bills, higher emissions, political gridlock on climate action. 10 years ago today, the Greens teamed up with the Coalition to vote down Labor's carbon pollution reduction scheme. It was the wrong call then, and 10 years later, we're paying the price. Well, the Greens, of course, they hit back. Here's Adam Bant on Twitter. We're in a climate emergency. Greens are taking on coal-hugging government, but the ALP decides to attack us. The ALP, instead of crab-walking back to coal, join us in fighting the Liberals. And if you reckon your 10-year-old Brown scheme was so great, have the guts to support carbon pricing again. This is delightful stuff, isn't it? Just a few months after Labor and the Greens lost another climate election. And it got very amusing, with the Greens boasting about the carbon tax that they brought in with Julia Gillard, and Labor desperately trying to gloss over that one. The inanity of the climate debate goes on, while we've had the ABC and journalists across a host of other media too telling outright lies about this year's bushfires being unprecedented and about conditions being worse than ever. We see them at the same time ignoring cold snaps and rain interrupting the cricket in Adelaide, or summer snows in the snowy mountains, and even in Tasmania today. They don't talk about that so much. It's all so tiresome, it's become amusing. But they do mislead people, whip themselves into a frenzy, and frighten our children, who are once more told that we face a tipping point and we're on the verge of global catastrophe. As I pointed out the other week, they even get excited about the horrible bushfire smoke hazes over Sydney. Now, I dug out newspaper reports of similar hazes so bad in the 1950s that planes couldn't land in Sydney airports for 4 hours or more. And smoke hazes back in the early part of the 20th century that were so bad that ships got lost trying to get through Sydney's heads. Foghorns were used, and the Sydney Harbour master couldn't even see the ships, couldn't even see across the heads. But hey, none of that matters for your green left climate alarmist journalists at the ABC. Jason Om retweeted a warning about the smoke haze yesterday and added this in Australia. He says, "This is Australia in 2019. Australian politics is the hashtag there, and climate. Climate change. It is smoke from bushfires, like we've always had, like we always will have. Australia, we are not getting any smarter. We pay these people. They retain relevant information like goldfish while they flap around like seals."